4, 3, 2, 1. I told you before to be careful where you put your legs.
I was only trying to be helpful.
I can help myself. What are you waiting for? Come on. Come on. What are you waiting for? Come on. Come on.
For 7 decades, Michael Caine has been among the world's most renowned and recognisable actors.
It was just what I needed. A 1-inch god with a 2-inch penis.
The star of classics like Zulu, The Man Who Would Be King, and The Cider House Rules.
It's a miracle no one was killed.
But also films that brought his career to the brink of complete implosion.
I made a mistake.
Somehow, he has always found a way back.
You're a big man, but you're in bad shape. With me, it's a full-time job.
In this epic podcast series, we will watch and review every Michael Caine movie, from the greatest hits
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
to the incredible misses,
You failed to maintain your weapon, son.
and take a deep dive into the life and work of one of the world's most recognisable film stars.
His name is Michael Caine, and no one will forget his name.
To understand how he has made the mark of Caine.
Well, you all settled in? Right, we can begin. For God's sake, come in.
Hello and welcome to the Mark of Caine, our plunge into the murky depths of Michael Caine's movie career, looking for pearls, but equally risking getting stung by floating jellyfish every single time. My name is Michael Foley and I'm joined as always by Stephen Black, proprietor and coat checker for the Mallow News Satire Emporium, which can be found at Mallow News on Twitter. How are you doing?
Well, in terms of jellyfish, I think, Mick, I will need you to urinate on me to salve the sting that the Magus, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, has left upon me. It is a permanent mark, scar, if you will, that if he will be with me for, well, I'm not going to be melodramatic and say the rest of my life, but certainly the next few days.
Yeah.
Yes, here we are again on the roller coaster of Michael Caine's career. At this stage now, I don't know about you, I've been on a couple of roller coasters. I remember there being more ups.
I do.
Than perpetual down.
This feels like, and it's not even the thrill of going down. It's just a bit towards the end. You go, I have enough of this. I have enough of this. I'm feeling queasy now, and I need a little bit of something just to level me out. Like, but yeah, we're not getting a whole lot of level. Hurry Sundown, Deadfall, Woman Times 7, $1 Billion Brain, which is probably the worst of the weakest anyway of the Palmer films. I
just want to go on the waltzers.
Yeah, I just want to go on the waltzers. Just Mick Caine, just give us something we can hang on to. We just need a little something now. But instead we get this. This is very much the door in Titanic in terms of something tangible to hold on to. You know, you'd imagine at this stage of his career, there's room for a better film, but no, he's prizing our frozen fingers off so he can float away into the fucking shitty sunset. Yeah, this is a Michael Caine film that has a really special place in the Hall of Infamy. This is the movie that Caine himself claims was among those that nearly collapsed his entire career. He's described it down the years as dire, as a load of rubbish. He says he has no idea what the movie was about, that he was forced into making it by his contract with Fox against his better judgment. This is 1968. This is the box office catastrophe that was disowned by everyone that was involved in it. This is the movie that nearly torpedoed it all. This is the Magus.
The Magus is real. The Magus is mystery. The game he plays is love. The game is desire. The game is tender. The game is terror. The vicious game the Magus plays is not a game, but life itself. Or is it death? The answer is fascinating. The answer is frightening. The answer is in The Magus, from John Fowles' best-selling love story, starring Michael Caine, Anthony Quinn, Candice Bergen, Anna Karina. The game is real.
What the hell did you make of this?
Well, I think I sent you a message essentially go, what the fuck is going on?
Yes.
I don't know. You could, like, I assume you'll go through the plot. Have you written out the plot just out of interest? Are you gonna do improv?
Oh my God!
Improv your way through it.
Oh my! Well, I tell you what, right? Because when I do these plots, sometimes they can be quite complicated to write down. So I kind of cross-reference them with other sort of summaries of these films. On this, I found so many different versions of what this film is about that I'm actually, can I be honest with you? I'm actually quite pleased with how this plot outline worked out in the end. Because by the time I'd finished writing it, I actually kind of thought, yeah, I think I might actually have found a plot. It's still mad and it still makes no sense, but I think I have found at least a moral to the story. I'm quite happy with it.
So you've bigged yourself up now, so go for it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Let's see how we go. So it's this the Magus 1968. It's amazing. Anyway, let's begin. Caine plays Nicholas Urf, who's escaping dingy London. He's going to a lovely Greek island where he's going to teach English in a school, apparently trying to escape the memories of a broken relationship with Anne, who's played by Anna Karina, a great French new wave actress of the time. In this film, she's an air hostess who basically acts him off the screen every time they're together. But anyway, Urf's wanderings on the island when he gets there brings him to this mysterious villa that's owned by Maurice Conchis. Conchis now may be dead, or he may be alive. He may have collaborated with the Nazis during the war, or he may not have. But he invites Urf to stay the following weekend. Urf accepts for no apparent reason, especially when the whole scene seems pretty freaky on the basis of their first encounter. Conchis says he lives there alone, or what some would call alone. I'd like to point out that we'd already seen 2 staff members at this stage. So Urf goes back anyway the following weekend. He stays the weekend. Conchis tests him by playing dice. The loser has to take a suicide pill, and Urf loses, but he refuses to take the pill. And apparently this means he's passed the test, and that he shows that he values his life, even though he had spent a lot of time saying, I don't really value my life. Stay with me. So then we get some backstory. It turns out that Conchis was a musical prodigy trained in London, where he met Lily, who died of typhoid in 1916. But then suddenly she turns up the next night on the Greek island at dinner. And Urf is very confused. So it turns out that Urf, in my head anyway, this is how I got through the film. Urf is basically Alfie, right? He uses women, he's shallow, he's controlling, he's a git. Then there's some various visions of ancient gods and Lily kind of floating around the place and so on. And then the next thing, Conchis says, oh, by the way, just to let you know, Lily isn't a ghost. She's actually a schizophrenic called Julie, and I'm a doctor called Lambros. So here we go. Twist. Next thing, Anne, his previous girlfriend, lover, whatever, arrives from Athens, and there's some scenes there, and there's a spot of sexy time.
Girlfriends are typically lovers, unless it's kind of in a whole junior infant. So this is my girlfriend, we're going to marry kind of way. You know?
I kind of mean more in the way of like an actual relationship, you know. But anyway, so there's a bit of sexy time by the lake with Anne, but Urf, for some reason, rejects staying with her in favour of going back to Crazy Town on the island. Next twist. Next thing we're told, Julie, she's not a schizophrenic at all. She's an actress, and Lambros isn't a doctor. He's a producer, and there's another guy there who's apparently a director. They're making a movie where we can't see the cameras. Time for another vision. Urf is invited by Julie now for sexy time at a chapel out in the countryside. And but he's also found out around the same time that Anna has committed suicide, or has she? But in fairness, he sets aside his grief. He sets aside his grief and opts for some sexy time at the chapel, where
sets aside his grief and picks up his erection, basically.
Well, your words. But would you know what happens? He gets accosted by some Nazis when he's there with some Greek resistance guys at the chapel. So no sexy time, and the next thing he's left on his own in the middle of the forest. Still with us. Back to Conchis in a proper temper, as you would be. No one has a blind clue what's going on, either in the film or watching the film. And Conchis now tells him that it's all part of the meta-theatre, where the play is for the actors alone. Then Conchis tells his story where he was the mayor of the island when the Germans were occupying there during the war, and he had to make a choice between killing 3 resistance fighters who'd killed a few German soldiers, or allowing 80 locals to be massacred. In the end, everyone gets killed apart from Conchis. And somewhere, the key line, I think, to the film is slipped in, that Urf, in this piece of meta-theatre, is being cast as the traitor because we have all failed to love. More sexy time with Julie, but at the crucial moment, she backs off. These guards come in, drag Urf off to a show trial that kind of reminded me of Alice in Wonderland, what with like the draft board, kind of black and white tiles on the floor. And now Conchise, played by Anthony Quinn, by the way. I should have mentioned that much earlier. He's dressed as a Magus, which is kind of like a half jester magician type. There's a $1 billion brain-style computer telling us that Urf is Alfie, basically shallow, manipulative, no hope for him. And then in another kind of twist that I don't think any of us saw coming, Urf is invited to whip Julie, who's played by Candice Bergen, by the way, with the cat of nine tails, having been shown a movie of her having sex with the bloke from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Julian Glover, by the way, the guy who melts at the end when he drinks from like the not Holy Grail. Urf says, suddenly, I'm not cat of nine tailing anybody. And he suddenly wakes up, apparently in Athens with Conchise. But, just when you think something is making sense, it's a set. And he walks out the door and he's at the island again. And there's Anne below on a speedboat leaving. And Urf goes back to the villa where he finds nothing apart from the paperweight that Anne once gave him and the lines from the T.S. Eliot poem that seems to be central again to the whole movie, that we shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know this place for the first time. So I'm taking the entire caper as basically a very long, confusing lesson for Urf in learning to love and appreciate what he has. But I really don't know, and I kind of don't care, and it's completely bullshit mental.
That is a fair play to you. That's a fairly concise explanation of what actually was going on in this film. I've done my own kind of summary of this, so just bear with me. So this film is basically about a British man who, for no apparent reason, decides to piss off to Greece for some work and mysteriously ends up as a leading man at the whims of a terrible director who embraces this notion of the meta-theatre, where there's no plot, no scripts, no one knows what's going on, whether they're on camera or not. Everything is really confusing, and in the end, it seems like the leading man is being punished for what he has done. But also, there may be some hope for him to start over again. I mean, there's some fucking parallels here as far as I'm concerned. It's basically Caine.
Yes.
Again, says he somehow, contractual obligations, pisses off here, doesn't know what the fuck is going on, is at the whims of a Guy Green, who is a fucking terrible director. Terrible. I mean, this is a man who won an Academy Award for his work as a cinematographer on Great Expectations. Mm-hmm. And this is he's like a fucking Wally Pfister of his time. Remember Wally Pfister? Wally Pfister. That's a real name. I'm not making that up. Wally Pfister was Christopher Nolan's cinematographer. So he did Inception and he did the Dark Knight trilogy and all that. Very, very talented. Then he went out and he on his directorial debut directed Transcendence. Okay. Have you seen Transcendence?
I don't think I have.
Johnny Depp, Paul Bettany vehicle about AI. It was an absolute turkey, and Wally Pfister hasn't worked in movies since. I think he's directing TV shows and he's directing ads now, which I think Guy Green's career went a similar route. It's a complete incomprehensible mess, but it's still more watchable than Alfie, simply because it's a mess is more fun to watch than a complete Alfie. Alfie.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree with you, because I was kind of coming into this, I was expecting it to be a mess, because Caine only describes it as like one of the worst films he's ever done. I realised about half, 2/3 of the way through this. This is better than Horizon Sundown. It's more watchable than Alfie, and it's better than The Wrong Box. So immediately it's better. Yes. It's more watchable than 3 of the previous movies you've done in this decade alone. And that's not to say it's good, by the way.
No, it's not. No, I think the thing with this is I think expectations were so high because the book that it's based on was such a hit, and is deemed still to be like a literary classic. So expectations were high that this is going to be, this marvelous fucking representation of the successful book on screen, and it was a complete and utter box office flop. I think it made 2 million, or it took in 2 million or something ultimately at the box office, and cost something like 6 million to make. So a complete and utter turkey as well, in a line of turkeys that Caine had done within the last year.
Yeah, we'll come along to kind of where he's at now in a little while. Like, I mean, where does this leave him? This absolute disaster of film. But like, it's weird because like it's awful, but it's not pantomime awful the way that it's sometimes described. It's the kind of film that you can go back into and you'll find bits and pieces in it. I mean, Anna Karina is I think she's. I mean, insofar as anybody is good in this, she's good, and she acts Caine off the screen every time, basically because she looks interested in what she's doing mainly.
Caine looks so bored. In nearly every single scene where he's in the background or some other character is talking, he just looks as if he wants to die. It's just like literally, what He's literally like, I mean, he's in many ways, like some roles in a movie, that you're supposed to be the kind of the audience's surrogate. He's very much so in this movie because he does look as if he's going, "What the fuck is going on? Why is this happening? I hope the check is cleared."
It's like the only thing that's getting him through is like he looks very tanned and very radiant. It's largely filmed in Mallorca, so he's happy with that. And he said himself the only other thing that got him through was the fact that Candice Bergen was in a lot of scenes opposite him. That pretty much got him through the whole ordeal.
Yeah. Just want to kind of lead us on that way here, just in terms of, like, he does spend an awful lot of time in this movie with his top off, but I think it's a marvelous representation of the male physique that I'd like to see more on screen these days, because I don't know about you, but I'm sick of the high expectations for men on screen these days. You see footage of fucking lads preparing for like Marvel movies or DC movies, and they're there and they're dragging fucking sacks of silage up and down a road. They're hammering a tire and all that. And in between, just if they're doing any shots where they have to take their shirt off, they're there fucking pounding raw chicken. Fucking doing pull-ups and all that to make sure the muscles pop on screen. I'd say the only thing Guy Green said to fucking Michael Caine was, can you do a sit-up? Can you just the one? Any chance of a burpee? Just
a what? How do you think he prepared for it then? How do you think he got himself physically ready for the rigors of the role? Because he does do a bit of swimming, for example.
He does do a bit of some. I'd say up and down the steps to Tony Quinn's gaff, and this is basically was the extent of his exercise. Maybe from the airport to the taxi that brought him to his hotel. Maybe walked around the hotel a bit. I think that's about a lot of cardio.
Do you think he's drifting a little bit from the actor's diet as well at this point? Because
I think so, especially if that's it. There's and again, I'll hold my hands up as a man in a possession of a pair of love handles. I feel place the point as well. He is beginning to. There's the signs of there being more of him to love.
Yes,
at this stage, you can see not getting a tad gouty about the midriff.
He is showing the signs of living well. He's showing the signs of a man who is now being put up in hotel suites and being offered whatever the hell he wants, and rightly so, saying, "Yes, I will have 27 lobsters in my bath, please." He's doing whatever he wants, and I can't say well earned, but he's living the life, and it is starting to show.
Mick, did you enjoy Caine's Partridge impersonation towards the end of the movie?
That was the best. That was it. You were kind of just gulping water in this mess of a film, and the next thing you hear, Anne, and suddenly you are transported to a car park at a country club on the outskirts of Norwich. It was like something to hang on to. It was just something to hang on to.
Anne!
Just to go back to the film a little bit, like it's as I say, it's not pantomime awful. It's actually interesting. It's funny that it's insofar as anyone watches it anymore. That's the other thing. This movie is completely more or less gone off the radar of most people, but it has something of a cult following on, online and so on. The reviews from people who've watched it aren't damning, but I think it's more like, I think sometimes cult is code for this is crap, but it's just not as crap as some people have suggested down the years. But it's still crap.
I think so. Yeah, some people's interpretation of cult is that like a small group of people think something that is that everybody else thinks is absolute shit. Just think it's a little bit shit, and there's merit in that shitness. Yeah,
and like there is. I mean, I didn't realize this. It was only when I went looking into the Magus that I found out that there was actually talk in 2020 of a reboot of the Magus book, at least anyway, as a miniseries directed by Johan Renck, who did Chernobyl. So, I mean, it clearly has the book itself, as you mentioned before, has a huge attraction for people and goes down as one of these it is a genuine cult novel, isn't it? Like it is very popular.
Yeah, and I mean, there's aspects of you can see something like a film like this. I mean, I've looked at the plot of the book, and there are lots of differences between what they decided to keep in and what they decided to cut out. But like if you think about the premises of an outsider coming to a small island and being presented with all these kind of strange visions and strange people. I mean, it's if you think of movies like The Wicker Man, or more recently movies like Midsummer, there are precedents for things where this kind of situation can be done well. There's the psychodrama elements to it as well. Like Ben Wheatley's pretty good at that as well, but it's just Guy Green doesn't have the tools in his toolbox to do this. He doesn't. And I know John Fowles co-wrote the script, which he denies. John Fowles is the author, the actual guy who wrote the Magus. But he disowned. Yeah, as I say, he disowned it. But there, it's no poor understanding of what an audience is willing to tolerate in terms of ambiguity, I think, on the screen.
Absolutely. I mean, there's 6 lines that really capture the whole thing for me anyway. 6 lines from the script. I just enjoy it more if I knew what it was all about. That's from Earth. This is life, not an existential novel. That's from Anne. I never saw a script, says Julie at one stage. He'll have absolutely no idea what's happening. I think Conscious said that. I don't understand what's going on. That's Julie again. And you have entered the meta theatre. No set plot, no set dialogue, no audience. And I think that pretty much captures exactly what's going on with the whole movie, before, during, and after.
Yeah, I think there's kind of a subconscious self-awareness that's appearing in the script. It's like they're consciously they think they're making a movie that's going to be an absolute smash hit, but there's something at the back of their mind that's writing these lines, and it's kind of like a subconscious scream going, what are you doing? Please stop.
I don't think it's been wise after the event either, because like Candice Bergen and other people who have briefly spoken about this movie, basically, I didn't have a clue what was going on. I was told to stand here and say that. I had no idea what exactly was happening.
Candice Bergen is terrible in this. And I mean, it's not really her fault. It's just the script is the lines aren't there for her. But she does very, very little with with the very little that she has. Whatever about Tony Quinn, at least he's hamming it up Tony Quinn style, Yeah. You're getting 100%. I better go ham with Tony, It's just fucking smell the Denny rashes coming off the screen at you, He's just. I hate Tony Quinn. I've never liked him in anything I've seen. He's got those. I am a virile man. I fuck like a bull. These lads. I grab life by the testicles and I squeeze.
Oh my God. I was about to say he certainly fills up the screen, but I kind of feel like I shouldn't really say that after that impersonation of Quinn.
I tell you what I fill the screen up with. Acting jism. My seed of performance is everywhere.
Okay.
I impregnate your mind.
Thank you. Yeah, it is 100% pure Quinn. It is smashing the egg with a huge, huge baseball bat. Everything is way over the top, which of course is the complete opposite of what this film needs. But here's something I want to put to you. And even when I was doing the summary there, I found myself saying the words sexy time a lot more than I have said them in the previous 10 movies. We're moving into a more permissive time for film, I think it's safe to say.
Boobage. There's boobage in this movie.
That's another word for... Yes.
Significantly more boobage. And to be honest with you, I know it's representative of the times, but there's not really any fair play here. The ladies are required to show boobage. At no stage do we get to see Michael Caine. No little hint of his Ipcris file. That's all. Not even his bare bum. Nothing.
Yeah.
Come on. A little something for the ladies as well, lads. Come on.
Everything is tucked away, all right, it's safe to say. Yeah. I did find though, like the kind of thinking of Orf as Alfie as Orf, helped me get through the movie. It actually put a bit of shape on it, which maybe says more about the impact Alfie has had on my movie watching than anything that the Magus managed to do.
Yeah, it possibly has the longest sex scene of a Michael Caine film today. Definitely the one with Anna by the local watering hole. But even the way that's shot, it's shot with all, it's shot like with all the finesse of some lad with a fucking iPhone outside a Ford Cortina at a dogging site, you know. It's kind of just very unerotic, let's put it that way. Michael Caine caressing your one like a fucking butcher, kind of, like, rubbing his hand over a range of exotic meats, you know. It's just. He's just kind of going, ugh. Oh no, stop!
It's kind of like it's like he's kind of feeling for the bone where to cut the chops. Like it's not it's not pleasant. It is not pleasant again. And there's more eyeball kissing, and there's more, it's just
more very, very kind of tense arm placing of the lady in places. It's like, I grab you, I put you on bed. Now I will lie next to you. It's
not working. It's just not. It doesn't really work. I mean, you mentioned Guy Green, the director, is terrible. Candice Bergen, God bless her, is terrible. I mean, I think she's actually been asked to do a lot here, because she's basically been asked to play a schizophrenic, an actress, and a dead girlfriend. And that's an awful lot to ask. Anna Karina, I thought was good. Anthony Quinn was pretty terrible. What you make, like, the ending is just. I mean, it's a kind of movie. It's like quicksand. You get to a point in the movie where you go, okay, I think I've found some solid ground underneath me, and the next thing it just twists, and you're going, oh no, that had nothing to do with anything. The last 20 minutes, it was a waste of time.
I gave up on it making any sense. I gave up on it making any sense. I think the whole way that it kind of goes, Michael Caine's character would ask, "What's really going on?" And Tony Quinn, you've got me. It's not actually my reincarnated the ghost of my first love. She's actually a schizophrenic patient. And then another 5 minutes, Michael Caine, what's really going on? And the truth this time, you got me. It's kind of going, no, there's no attempt here at any structure.
Yeah, they're desperately just trying to make points. I mean, at one stage early on, Cain's character's at a party, and this guy comes over and says, "You're classless, rootless, jobless. You have all the hallmarks of a contemporary genius." It's this kind of crap all the way through the film,
But he's what fucking contemporary genius? He's pissing off to teach English in a Greek island. It's not like he's going off to, I need to isolate myself to embrace my muse and write a fucking book. He's not. He's going off to teach a bunch of kids English.
And of course,
by the way, by Greek Michael Caine, Greek Alfie, the guy, his friend at the school, it's Greek Alfie.
Oh yeah, go on.
Basically, the Greek voice, Mykonos Kainos. Giving him the same hair, glasses, and suit as Harry Palmer. Like, it was like fucking Mykonos Kainos. So found it very distracting. Going, what the fuck is going on here? I thought maybe that was going to be some sort of, in some way, central to the plot, that there was some sort of replacement going on here. But
to be fair, if you found Mykonos Kainos the most distracting thing in a movie that included a Roman god getting hit by an arrow, the Egyptian god of death helping Candice Bergen back into a door, and Anthony Quinn dressed up as a jester, says a lot for Mykonos Kainos' impact on you.
Yeah, I've anything to distract me from what was going on.
Yeah, and look, to be fair, they did kind of try to root it back in the 60s. I mean, there was a severe bit of misogyny kind of tossed in there. Anthony Quinn just reminding us that young female schizophrenics are highly sexed. Apparently.
That's a medical fact. That's the medical term, is highly sexed.
Highly sexed. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm getting the sense it's we both think it's a terrible movie, but it's just not quite as terrible as some of the other movies he's done in the previous 2 or 3 years, despite what he says himself.
No, and I mean, and again, from our own perspective, we acknowledge that Alfie is a good movie. It's just that we fucking hated it.
Yeah, we hate Alfie, but we love he's brilliant in it. Caine is brilliant in it, but we hate the film Alfie. Where is he? Where is Caine now? He has made, by my reckoning, about 3 or 4 turkeys in a row. Maybe I'm being harsh on $1 billion brain there, but he's just made a succession of god awful movies. And remind me, what's his equation again for a ratio of bad movies to good movies?
You're allowed 5.
Right. Well, he's right there now.
Yeah, he's knocking on TV's door.
He really is. The Oscar nomination, the Alfie dividend is surely. How does a guy how does he do this? How does he get away? How does he escape from this horror?
He's like Homer playing blackjack at this stage. 19, hit me. 20, hit me. 21, hit me.
Oh, it's terrible. It's just got awful. I mean, I was looking at it going, how do you did he know what was coming next? Because we'll get onto that as well in a second. Actually, before we do, we should probably just kind of rate his performance in this movie. What do you say? What can you say about Caine in the Magus? Sleepwalks, comatose.
He's basically, again, I don't want to drag this down into gutter, but again, if I'm watching a movie that's this bad and this disjointed, I need to find things on the screen that I find slightly, distracting. If we're going about levels of realism, clearly this is a movie that obviously has a scene of, as you say, Candice Bergen dressed as Athena shooting a man dressed as Pan with a bow and arrow. So you're not here in the realms of reality. But I found there's a couple of scenes where McCain is there's one where McCain has an erotic dream about Candice Bergen. He wakes up in his bed, and there Michael Caine is there giving the news. Yeah. Michael Caine gets straight up out of bed. He's not like, just would you go to the room for 5 minutes, please?
Just give me a second there. Huh?
Just give me a second, right? So that's one thing. Again, apologies for bringing down the tone. The second one is...
I think we went there with your Anthony Quinn impersonation, to be honest.
That's possibly true. The second thing then is he's frolicking in the water with Candice Bergen, and it's getting hot and heavy, and she goes, no, not this time, for whatever fucking reason. She gets out of the water. He gets out straight away. Wearing these tight terry cloth. I mean, that is no fuck away. Okay, Candice, I'm just going to... Are you not coming out of the water? No, I'm just going to do another couple of laps at the cove there. I'll see you up in the villa.
I'm just going to go over. There's a cold spot over here. I'm just going to go over here and just do a couple of laps around the cold spot here in the shade. I'll see you. I tell you what. I'll see you above in the villa there in about. Give me about 15 minutes. Should do it. I'd say. No method acting here, like.
No, none. Anyway, sorry. Get the train back in the tracks. This is a 1 or 2 marks out of Caine for me.
Do you think so? No, I'm gonna give you a chance here, right? And I respect your choice, right? But
you fucking clearly don't.
Well,
if you give me a chance.
I think we're already at the time where we have to sort of start to weigh our marks. What I do, I'm weighing. Like, I was looking at the previous 10 movies that we've gone through, or this is 9 or 10, whatever it is, right? I mean, we gave him 2 or 3 marks of Caine for the wrong box, for example. We gave him 4 for Hurry Sundown. He got 5 for Deadfall last time around. Woman Times 7, remember the one where he was like, it was just a silent movie for 15 minutes? We give him, now that was 2 Caines, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to you is, you need, when you're thinking about him in the Magus, and we are of one that the Magus is a complete and utter wheelbarrow load of manure. Okay, but again, Caine sitting in this wheelbarrow of manure, what are you giving him?
I've changed my mind. 8.
It's his new Zulu. It's Bromhead in Greece.
You've changed my mind. I'm highly suggestible.
I tell you what,
I put it into context. All right, I'll give him a 3.
Okay, you're giving him 3. I would actually give him, because I think he's not doing a deep south.
I'll give you a time, because clearly your opinion is more important in this. Go on.
No. I'm just trying
to justify your higher mark. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have to. Give me a chance. I fucking will.
Go on.
Shut up. Hurry Sundown, where he put on that awful southern deep south accent. We give him 4 for that, right? He doesn't have a deep south accent in this. Was he better in Deadfall, the last one where he plays just cat burglar again? I'm somewhere between 4 and 5 for me, and leaning towards 5. But if you're saying, I tell you what, I come a step to you, right? Spit in the hand, right? If you say 3, I'll say 4. I give you 4. 3 or 4 Caines for himself for this, right?
Okay.
It's a shocker. He's at this point now, his career, if it's not gone down the toilet, it's circling the bowl. All good. Now, all goodwill. The only thing that I can imagine that's keeping him up at this stage in people's estimation is that he's a desperately nice chap, and he's got a great personality, and he's a very likable individual. But he has now done a succession of films that reach way, way beyond what they can be, or else are just...
You've basically just described a Labrador. So essentially what you're saying is lovely personality, has started to piss in the carpet though.
Oh, he's gone.
We're beginning to worry, is this something that we can cure with an antibiotic, or are we better off just, bringing him to the vet.
Is it time to go to the vet?
For a more permanent solution. Yeah.
It's gone beyond replacing the rug at this stage. So, and this is also the end of 1968 is now gone. Deadfall and The Magus are his two films in 1968. Two shockers. But what happens next? Will we tell the people what happens next, Stephen?
Yes, we should, Michael.
He does a movie called Play Dirty.
Wow, Play Dirty.
Yeah. It is not a sex comedy. It does not have any 60s sex kittens in it.
No boobage.
Not a sign of sexy time as far as I can figure it out. It's a war movie about which I know absolutely nothing apart from a story that you once told me. I think this is Play Dirty. You told me a story about a Caine film one time that he was filming in the desert. Is this Play Dirty? Is this
yes, that's Play Dirty. Yeah.
Tell the Play.
I'm not telling people. I don't want to. You see, I'm not going to tell my Play Dirty story. And the only reason I'm not going to tell it is that we haven't seen it. In the off chance, and we want to be positive here. The off chance that this is not a very good movie, we'd like to have something positive to talk about. And I think that I would like to save a little anecdote for the listeners for the next episode.
That's fair enough. I have not seen this film. It's a war movie. That's all I know.
You like war movies?
I do. And he's actually going.
Why did I say war movies? So
and this is
another way to pronounce.
And this is this is a theory of mine that we can come back to, right? That post Magus, post Deadfall, post all of these other things, he does a run now of kind of capery war movies that I think it has to be a direct reaction to being given all these for want of a better expression, these airy fairy scripts that really don't go anywhere. But let's see what happens with Play Dirty. I have not seen it. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
Okay, well, let's all go away. You and me and everybody listening, let's go away. Find Play Dirty online. Let's come back. We're moving into 1969.
Be very careful how you Google Play Dirty as well. You don't want that in your search history, okay?
Be very, very careful. We accept no responsibility for any authorities calling to your door and taking away your PC or laptop. That's nothing to do with us. Blame, I don't know, Caine. Right, let's call a halt. The Magus. Let us move away from that. I don't know what to call it. Just that lake of awfulness. Thank you, Stephen, for going through that. I couldn't have done it without you. I really couldn't.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you.
You appreciate me.
I appreciate you.
What the hell is
I
that?
see you. I don't know. I'm trying to.
That's the Magus. That's the Magus has got in your head. That's Magus talk. That's Magus talk.
That's what we get without doing. You see, we constantly exist in the meta theater here, where there's never a fucking script.
Well, there's certainly no audience. So look, this is podcast meta theater. This is podcast. We'll come back the next time. We'll watch Play Dirty. Turn over a new leaf. It'll all be fine.
Hopefully the leaf is clean. Okay, so that's it for this week's episode. We'll see you next time for Play Dirty. If you have any questions for us regarding Play Dirty, if you're as confused and as angry as we are about the Magus and you haven't asked any of the questions that we've read out in this week's podcast, please feel free to DM us on DM us on Twitter at Malanews or at Michael Caine 2. So then, see you.
Bye.
That's it for this week's episode. Thanks for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment. Only nice ones, though. Mean comments will make Alfie cry, and no one wants to see that. The Michael Caine podcast is written, researched, and presented by Stephen Black and Michael Foley, and edited by Andrew Foley. Music is composed by Stephen Black. If you'd like to get in touch, you'll find us on Twitter at MalloNews and at Michael Caine 2. And if you enjoyed this episode, you'll find all the rest wherever you get your podcasts. The Michael Caine is a Mallow News 2 Cubes production. See you next time.